Hey there, viewers, and welcome back again to What's Up Wednesday, take 2. I don't have one of them little things I can do, the little things. If you're just coming into this, which is not many of you in here now, we had to restart because there was some kind of wacky skipping stuff going on. So I'll give you guys a minute to see if it's, doing that again. Of course, I couldn't see what it was doing, but whoa. Holy smokes. Let's see. I got to add a moderator here. One new moderator added. Let's see. Is it going good now? Ben says it's all hood. Jennifer says it seems good. Everybody else says I'm looking good. All right. Keith says it was happening about every 45 seconds. It's probably the Russians. Okay, whoa. All right, everything looks good. Great, good, great. I'm trying to read the comments. They're going too fast. I don't even remember what we were just talking about. Somebody remind me. One thing I do want to talk about. I'll wait for a couple of folks to get up in here. Well, there's 630 folks up in here. So I put out a video recently about tire plugging. And, you guys seen that tire that came in that was run soft. It was awesome. I knew I'd get a lot of people's goats with that. So, that's why I put that title out on the video. I didn't realize how many people would get, though. And it was kind of funny, so lots of thumbs downs, which was great. And it's just really great to hear from, you see both sides of the coin. So there was a lot of guys that were, mother effing me because, they work in a tire shop and they've never seen a tire do that, or the fact that, the tire coming apart on the inside, that's only superficial. They'd plug it and run it, and that's fine. If that's what you do in your shop, that's absolutely fine. More power to you. And then there was also the great concern with people who were in tune as to what I was doing, in the fact that I was putting on a Subaru, and they were freaking out. Some of them were freaking out. Some of them had normal questions. Some of them just freaked out because I put a single tire on a Subaru. And yes, they're 100% correct. That is a big no-no, depending on the tread depth of the other tires. Now, if they were really observant and keen, they would have heard in the video that I said these tires were just put on, and look at the tire and see that it was actually relatively new. I went out and grabbed the tire off the junk pile. I got it over here. And I also got questioned greatly on how old was that tire. People were insisting the tire had to be 7 to 10 years old, which again is because of their inability to listen, that, this was a new tires, all 4 that were just installed on this car. So I'm going to grab the tire. We're going to take a peek at it live on camera, so I ain't cheating you. So I grabbed her out, the pricker's out back. You can see it's the same tire because it still has a nail or the screw torque spit thing in it. It's still marked. I'll grab a tread depth gauge here. Now, brand new tires typically are 11 to 12, 30 seconds on cars. So we're just going to take a measurement here. We're going to do a center measurement. We can see. I don't know if that's going to focus. Let me set this down so we can focus. Just so everybody can sleep well tonight. What are we at there? We are at somewhere between 11 and 12, 30 seconds. So there we go. And now, as for the date code on the tire, let's find it here. Here we go. DOT number, Dan, 1818. This was made the 18th week of 2018. So there you go. Hope you're happy. Yes, it's okay to put that tire on a Subaru because it matched all the other 3 tires in size, circumference, brand, tread depth, and speed rating. And it's also made the 18th week of 2018. It's less than a year old, right? Because we're only on, the second week, third week of 2019. So there. Boom. But it just, I'm going to do another one of those videos called How Tire Plugs Can Kill You Part 2 when I get one in with the right situation. The other scenario that you see where, let's say the tire wasn't run flat, never ever got run flat, never got run soft, nothing. What we get is you'll have a nail, particularly a long one, let's say like, a 16 penny or, a 3-inch screw, something like that. And let's say it's in a, repairable area, a legit repairable area. And You know, let's just say for sake of argument, it's in the tread area. What you'll get is you'll get a nail that goes in cockeyed, and it will go and it will face towards the sidewall. And the whole time you drive, let's say this is the sidewall tire, this is the tread. Let's envision this, okay? The nail's in like this, and the whole time you're driving, it's giving it the old French tickler on the side of the sidewall. And that sucker will rub straight through all the belting and almost through the sidewall. And often cases, again, looking at the outside of the tire, you don't see it. You don't see anything. You just yank the nail out and, you know, bada bing, bada boom. Now, technically, if you read, what is it, the RMA, the Tire Association or whatever, when you plug tires, if it's on more of a 15-degree angle, I don't even think you're supposed to use an insert. I know certainly you can't use a patch plug, a uniseal, whatever you want to call them, depending on the angle. They actually have special gauges that you stick, you know, a little rod in the injury, and you stick the gauge up to it to see what the angle of the dangle is and make a decision as to what kind of tire repair you're going to do. Have I used plugs? Lots of them, fellas. You know, I'm just telling you, you got to be careful. You know, I've had tires, you know, where I've been out, you know, either like trail riding or four-wheeler or something. I'll stick 7 or 8 plugs in the tire, you know, stack them up, make a hole. The tire's bulging, it's junk. You got to get home. You know, you're out, you got a flat, stuff a plug in it, you know, bring it in, tear it down, yank the plug out, fix it the right way. So a lot of haters on that video. So that was good. Sidewall repair, don't even think about it. You know, tractor tires, I've patched sidewalls, suck tubes in them, you know, you name it. I'm not out to get anybody and saying like, oh, if you do that, you're a dirtbag. I just wanted people to be aware of some of the hazards of sticking in a plug. This girl was very adamant. She did not drive this tire flat. As soon as her light came on, she pulled over. That was it. It is what it is. A blade from a buck knife in a tire? No, you're not patching that, because technically, you know, legally, I don't want to say legally, technically, you're not supposed to repair anything over a 1/4-inch slit. So, stainless steel coffee mug. Yep, she's a Yeti. I got this from a guy named Justin. Justin, his last name escapes me. He's a YouTube viewer. I'll think of it. Oh, it's hot apple cider, and it's so good. Now it's gone. A 1/4-inch. How many millimeters is that? Let's see. This, I think this tape is in millimeters. It's in 1 through 1,000ths. Let's see. 1/4-inch is about 0 to 1, and there's that. That is about 7. I'm thinking, if I did my math right, 15, 7. 10, I don't know. I have to Google it. Yeah, see, 6.2. So 7 was pretty close. I just counting. Let's see. Oh, sounds like somebody's out there. Watch Sheba. Sheba's on him. Security. Trying security detail. Sheba, look up. Say hi to everybody. She's not in the mood to talk. Anywho, let's get into the What's Up Wednesday. What we can do, I grabbed a couple random emails, so we'll knock out some of these emails. I don't know how many I got here. You know what? Yeah, we'll buzz through some of these. We will get into, I got a little bit of fan mail over here in the box. What do we got here? This one is from a guy named David F. He says he has a 95 Dodge Stratus with the big 2.5 V6 in it. Oh, I hated those things. It was 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. It was a V6, but it was like this big, and the hood was like this big. They just shoehorned them in there, and they were turd buckets. And not picking on your car, David. I'm just saying I have horrible memories of those things. A while ago, the water pump went out. Long story short, the dealership wanted $323 versus $42 for the aftermarket. The guy behind the counter at Chrysler dealerships tells me I wouldn't get $25K out of that aftermarket pump. I said, ridiculous. Needless to say, I went aftermarket. So my question is, in your experience, is there any difference between OEM and aftermarket? David, at this point, it's too late, fella. And yes, I believe there is a difference. Okay. If I was going to get an aftermarket pump, which I do in cases, I would be, you know, on that car, I'd be looking at an Aisin or a Oh, excuse me a minute. All right, Keith. I would be looking at like an Aizen or Hitachi. You should be able to get those at Rock Auto, or depending on how hard the pump is to do. You know, if this thing's chain drive, belt drive, something like that, I would just buy OEM. Because if it's a 95, let's think about this. If it's a 95, it's the original pump. I don't care how many miles you got on it. It's a 95 and it's the original pump. I wouldn't hesitate to buy an OEM pump for it. Hopefully, whatever choice you made in an aftermarket, you know, works out for you and you don't have to learn it the hard way. Now, let's say you're working on like a GM with a, you know, 3.1 in it or 3.4, and that pump takes like 30 seconds to change. Sure, screw on $15 water pumps all day long. You know, if you're doing the work yourself. So that's my 2 cents on that. What else we got here? Man, everybody's keeping order over there in the side. We got some blue wrenches over there squashing everybody if they get out of hand. Oh, she likes them, Ryan. The mason jar soap pumps and all the other fancy. She likes her mason jars. Probably because she's always drinking moonshine. This one comes from HG, we'll call him. Oh, Henry. Henry G, not related to Warren. And he writes, I've got an 02 Chevrolet Tracker with the big 6-cylinder in it. The past week, I started the car and it goes through its airbag check and goes off. After that, it will go on again and stay on for a while. Then it will go off for a while and randomly goes on and off. Some days it does. Some days it won't go on at all after the initial startup. What could this be? And will this interfere with my inspection in April? In regard to your last question, in the People's Republic of New York, the airbag light is redundant. It doesn't matter. You'll get a notification saying your airbag light is on in case you're blind. In Pennsylvania, I don't know. Perhaps somebody over in the comments can answer that. If you can pass your county inspection in Pennsylvania with the airbag light on, that I don't know. As far as what's wrong with your car, that is also another question. I don't know. If it were me and that were my car, I would read the codes out of it to see what component of the airbag system is having a problem. Is it a problem in the driver's side squib, you know, airbag circuit? Is it a problem, you know, in the clock spring, it's losing that squib, you know, occasionally, which is kind of what it sounds like. Is it a seatbelt switch? Various things, tons of things it could be. The only way to get direction on that, 100%, is to read the codes out of it. Otherwise, it's nothing more than a Scotty Kilmer guess. So we'll leave it at that. Let's see. What's a frog's favorite drink? Coca-Cola. That's awesome. That's a great joke. That's a dad joke right there. No, it will not pass with any lights on, according to Robert. Any thoughts on the Launch X431? Well, I'm glad you asked because I just got one. So I would let you know. I used it the other day. Actually, I got an upcoming video. What did I diagnose? Oh, sugar. Toyota had a 04 to an 04 Taco in here with no speedometer, money lights on, ABS lights on. I use it in that video, and we talk about Toyota check mode and stuff in there. So, yeah, so you'll see that. At any rate, this question here comes from a guy named Charles and Cars, and I believe Charles and Cars has his own YouTube channel. You'll have to Google that. And he writes, thanks for the videos. Have learned a lot from your experiences. Do you find that fully coated rotors keep the rust ridge down and help with the veins in the rotor rusting, or no difference between those and the non-coated ones? Love always, Charles and Cars. Yes, Charles, in my opinion and in my experience from the years of using coated rotors, if a customer opts to buy those, because they do cost a little bit more, but the cost on them is actually starting to come down. Now, what he's talking about is the coated rotors, not just the painted hat rotors. So these are going to be like your OEM Chrysler, Toyota rotors, the Napa Ultra Premiums, the Advanced Auto Premiums. They have like that gray coating on them. I would say you get about twice as long out of them, in my opinion, from what I've seen coming in the rust belt before they start rusting, like down in the cooling fins, on the hat, to the point where I really try to sway customers towards them, not because they cost more, but they simply last longer, in my opinion. I don't know if the metallurgy on them is different on the Napa ones. I do notice that they are machined differently. They appear to be lathe cut instead of, milled on, a rotating device. of some sort. I don't know if you guys see that, where like the cheaper rotors have like a really heavy crosshatch in them. The more expensive rotors, they don't seem to like rust flake on the inside, where the chips come off them. I don't understand metallurgy, otherwise I'd fill you in on the details. I don't know if they have a higher nickel content. They're definitely machined differently, and they certainly do seem to last longer before they start rusting out. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. What state is he in? Charles and Cars? I don't know what state he's in. I do know he has a YouTube channel though. Oh, there are a bunch of Ford guys in here, JC. Got to start banning them. Here, JC, I added you as a moderator so you can take care of your people. Let's see. Where are we at here? I lost my picture. There we go. This letter comes from Tim B, and it's titled 04 Yukon XL, so Suburban. This is a big old tank. And he writes, I recently bought an 04 GMC Yukon XL Denali with a fuel-efficient 6.0. My 1995 Chevrolet Suburban had enough. She had 212 on the clock, and Yukon was well taken care of. That's what they all say when you buy a used one, dude. The other day, I was putting in the gas, and I took the fuel. Oh, let me see. I was putting gas in it, and it took fuel, and the pump kicked off. So I tried it again, clicked right off again, and I heard it gurgling in the fuel filler neck. I work on my own cars, but I've never had this happen before. So before shooting the parts can at it, I took it to the shop. Reminds me of your shop. This guy must be pretty good looking. He's a tech, and his wife is up front. She must be pretty good looking. Well, it was just a stuck canister vent valve. I was going to change the part, but I don't like shooting parts at it. The truck didn't even set a money light, which was odd. Sorry this is long, but you see this a lot. Thanks for being you. Keep the great videos coming and tell the family hi. With love, from Tim and Laura B. All right, Tim and Laura. Yes, I change canister vent valves on a daily basis on Chevrolets. You can almost roll the dice when a GM comes in and the money light's on and it's newer than like an 02. It's got a P04 something in it, 449, 455. It's going to have an evap code in it. Do I see them stick shut, though? That was the question. And I would have to answer that with no. Rarely do I see them stuck shut. 97% of the time, they're stuck open. I wouldn't hesitate to pull it on. Hopefully you have at this point, because that's going to be a pain in the hoo-ha to feed a 6.0 when you got to drizzle it down the filler neck. I have seen, particularly in our climate, because we have a lot of dust and dirt, dirt roads. We have a lot of potato farmers, stuff like that. I have seen them Chevrolets coming in where they will take gas very slowly. And I've seen this on a Pontiac G8 also I fixed here. I remember that one because I had to drop the whole rear suspension to get to it. Where was I going with that? They come in with a slow to fill gas complaint. You go through and you check it. And, you kick on the purge valve and you're looking at scan data and you got the canister vent, open, or at least it says it is. And all of a sudden this thing's building a huge vacuum in the tank. The test shuts off and then you watch the vacuum bleed down very slowly. You pull the gas cap off and poof, it goes back to normal. What the problem is here is they suck so much dust through the canister itself will become plugged. So if that had come into my shop, what I would verify is, if the vent valve is stuck shut, which is usually pretty easy, turn it on and off. Do you hear it clicking? If you don't, I'd be inclined to unhook both hoses off it, stick my lips on it, give it a little toot, see if it blows through it. If that was it, you're done. You're out the door for, a $40 part. If I found that the canister vent valve was working, in that case, I would check the circuit through the actual charcoal canister itself to see if it was plugged up, swamped with gas, and then, the charcoal went all lumpy on it, plugged it up. I've seen that on an S10 before. That was one for the township over here. I did that. That one got swamped somehow, plugged the canister up, same thing, can't fill it up with gas. If you drove the vehicle long enough, you would have had a money light. It must have just happened pretty dang quick, because that should have thrown a light relatively quickly after that happened. Let's see. Where are we at? they're not really noob questions on Bleach. They're just questions from viewers who might not know. If you're into this stuff every day, they may seem like a noob question, but they're all the same. They're all good questions. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute here. TDM, the rover guy. I got to talk to him. Will you mention for us poor Irish that Frank Massey is doing a Pico class in Cork on the 27th and 28th in April 2019. So for you folks over in the UK, Ireland, Frank Massey is probably one of the best trainers I've ever seen on the internet. Never met in real life. He has some fantastic material and a great way to speak to people and use analogies and put stuff in perspective. I wish I could meet him someday in real life. So if you are near Cork, wherever Cork is in Ireland, I assume Ireland, on the 27th, 28th of April 2019, go check out Frank Massey. The guy is brilliant. And it's only 200 euros. And I don't know if that's a lot or not. And look into that if you're from across the pond. Where are we at here? This one is from Patrick S. And he writes, first, love the channel. I've been watching for a couple years now, not a mechanic of any sorts, but I like working on my own cars and Jeep. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't realize you were rich. You got to be to own a Jeep because they're just money pits, I tell you what. Watching you work takes me back to when I was a kid, hanging out with my uncles in a garage working on their cars. I can watch 5 of your vids in a row just for fun. With the WJ you're putting together, have you ever considered a trail ride off-road trip with some of your subscribers? Rauch Creek Off-Road Park in PA is about 3 hours south of you. How many of your subs do you think have Jeeps or big four-wheel drives or perhaps a Honda CR-V? Maybe something closer to you in New York. I'm willing to travel. If you're interested, throw out the idea on your next What's Up Wednesday and see if others want to play. I would absolutely be willing to do that. And that thought has crossed my mind, and I'm trying diligently to get my Jeep done. However, time is like sand in the hourglass, or sand in the hands, I guess it would be, or trying to hold water. I don't even really know what kind of analogy I'm trying to use. But it slips away pretty quick. I did do a couple all-nighters here on my Jeep this weekend, and I had to put a new bushing in the front axle and all that stuff. I guess short answer is yes, I would like to do that. I definitely would entertain that. But yeah, Jeep's just empty every pocket. So I get the Jeep all done. I'm all excited. Take it home. I take a little toot up in the woods. Now everything's frozen. That thing is handy as tits on a bowl. It doesn't go anywhere. My little red Jeep at home will run circles around that thing. And it has, wicked amount of suspension travel, about 40 inches in the front. It's great. It flexes. The open carriers are a complete waste. The fact is I can't go on any poker runs. I can't go out wheeling until I put lockers in it. The bad part of that is it has a Dana 44A aluminum housing axle in the back. I wanted to put a Detroit locker in it. They don't make it. I was going to run a Detroit True Track in the front. I said, screw it all. I bought all new gears. We're going to drop her down to 456s, and I got ARB air lockers for the front and back. Boom. Now I'm broke. So that's where I'm at. That's what happened in my last Jeep. I'd go out, something would happen, it pissed me off, I'd spend a bunch of money and have a Jeep I can never sell. It's like the same story. I'm like reliving my youth, but I'm a full-grown adult and I know better. So, yes, I can't do the open differential thing. I am so upside down in that Jeep. It's like, I don't even want to tell you what I have into it because it makes me sick to even think about it. Anyway, I'm glad I got that off my chest. I actually feel better about that. Yeah, I don't want to drop it all the way down to 513 big frame because I want to run it on the street still. So that's what I'm going to do. It's got 373s in it right now, open front and back, and it is absolutely worthless. I mean, everywhere as I go, you got two wheels off the ground, boom, done. You're done. Oh, trying to click here. Ain't that the truth, TDM? But it's going to be fun. So And, you know, doing some looking, you know, I don't want to put a lunchbox locker in it because all it's going to do is click and ratchet and make noise and just, it's just going to make me upset. AMC Pacer, yeah. Yeah, the old one tire fire. I can't even do that, Schmitty, because she's full-time four-wheel drive, so. Yeah, see, do you guys like your ARB lockers? I was looking at Eaton e-lockers. Of course, Eaton doesn't make one for the 44A. Yeah, a Lincoln locker. Get a 6-pack of beer and a Lincoln welder, and you're done. I just want to ask you guys who are, you know, who off-road, you know, do you have, I don't want to dump, well, I already have. I've got, you know how much ARB air lockers are. From what I've read, everybody's pretty happy with them. So I've never had it. You know, I was looking at ARB and aux lockers. I didn't want to run big honking cables, even though those are, you know, quite reliable. All right, Big Fran loves his ARB lockers. Okay, good. That's all I need to hear. Big Fran loves them. Chase loves them. I was gonna go. Like I said, I was gonna go Detroit. I even called Detroit on the phone, talking with the guy, had it all figured out. Like I said, gonna run True Track in the front and Detroit locker in the rear. And then he's like, "Oh, that's aluminum housing. I'm sorry, pal, I can't help you." You know, he didn't hang up on me, but he felt kind of bad because we talked for a while. So anyhow, in either case, it's done. I already ordered the ARB air lockers and new gear set. Yes, and it puts me in the hurt locker. So, oh, hey, Jason, I remember you. Oh, speaking of scan tools, I'm sorry, we'll get to the mail. We don't have a ton of mail, but we will get to it. Speaking of scan tools, there's been some changes at the SMA. I have, you guys know in the past, I've used OTC scan tools. I had the Encore and the Evolve. They both now have new homes. The Evolve, I decided to give to Josh. So he just left. Today was his last day from his summer break. And he's talked to me, you know, about what he's going through at school and, you know, some of the struggles there. And one of the struggles being is that they don't have many scan tools. And, you know, you got so many kids in the senior class and, you know, this kid will be using the scan tool and this kid left it in a car up on a lift. It gets to be kind of a pain in the neck. So I gave him the OTC Evolve. It's about a $4,000 scan tool. You know, it's got built-in wiring diagrams, all that stuff. I switched the registration over on it, got a hold of OTC, figured it out, switched the registration over, gave that to Josh. So now he has that scan tool that he can use and learn and grow on. So I think that'll be a great tool for him. And the other thing is I gave my OTC Encore to one of my viewers, Smitty Smithsonian. You'll see him in the comments here. Been a viewer for a very, very long time of mine. We've grown a internet bromance, I'll call it, where we only speak over the internet. Never met the guy in real life. He's got a wicked sweet Massachusetts accent, big redneck, which is great. He's just one of the guys, you know, like if you would meet him, you know, you'd get along. You'd probably drink some beers and probably do some stupid stuff you know you shouldn't, even though you're both full-grown men. That's my thoughts on that. Oh, there he is. So, pretty cool guy. So I gave him, I sent him an email and said, hey, look, you know, he didn't ask for it, never said anything about it, but I knew that he wanted, or, you know, has talked about, you know, saving up money, getting a nice scan tool. So I switched my registration on the Encore, shipped that over down, crossed Mass, Boston, home of the Boston Cream and the Boston Celtics. Supposed to be there Saturday. So that's that. So you won't be seeing any of those blue OTC tools in my shop anymore. However, with that being said, you will see some new replacements for them made by Bosch. They look just like them, except they're green. They function a little different and have a few more features. The big one that looked like the Evolve, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's a big Bosch unit. Still has built-in wire diagrams, but it also has built-in repair information, which is pretty slick, in my opinion, and it's motor repair information, so it's pretty good stuff. So we'll be using that. If you see them coming up in the videos and you're wondering, you know, what happened there. Of course, I'll probably still have to answer that, though. Yeah, and home of the high taxes. Patriots. Are the Patriots there? Or Patriots Boston? I don't watch sports, so I have like no idea. Anywho, where are we at? This one's from David H. His last name is the same last name, and he has the same first name as the teacher that I had in school that absolutely hated me. The guy actually threw a chair at me, which was pretty wild. He was pretty upset. Anywho, and he writes, my posted question on your first What's Up Wednesday was, have you ever left parts behind after the fix? After viewing your last post, Ford AC heater, the fix, you answered that question. the return spring for the little solenoid that I had left out of the Ford. So yes, to answer that question, Mr. H, yes, I have left out parts. I typically find them. I don't ever find them when it's too late, thankfully, except for in two very specific cases that I can remember, which I'll share with you. But yes, I'll usually do something silly like I was doing on a Ford. You know, you jiggle a few kibbles and bits together, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, you know, there's the O-ring, or there's the piston, and I just put the head on, you know, something like that. And 99% of the time you just tear it back apart and everybody's happy, but it wastes time. It's frustrating. It's embarrassing, especially when you do it on camera, you know. So I can't lie to you now and be like, that's never happened, bro, ever. One very distinct fond memory I have of that was when I worked at my old man shop. Thankfully, I was working for him, so it didn't cost me a dime. Actually, I think I probably made money on it because we got paid hourly. I was working on an older Buick. You're going to have to help me on this, maybe a 3.3. I was doing a timing cover on it. Who remembers them? They used to have the cam sensor in the timing cover, and on the cam gear, it actually had the magnet, and the magnet would fall off. And I think they were a plastic gear, and you'd have to take the timing cover off because it would lose cam signal, and you would have to change the cam gear. So I did all that. You know, I don't remember if you have to pull the oil pan or whatever, but it's a pretty lengthy job. Pull the timing cover, change the timing gear, change the chain, you know, all that stuff. Put the whole shebang all back together. And I look over on my toolbox, and here's this little button with a little spring on it. It was the cam button for that engine. It keeps the cam, from walking out towards the timing cover. I debated long and hard before I told my old man what I did, because that thing was done, full of coolant, warmed up, the whole shebang. So it went over like a fart in church, and, ended up having to redo my work. So that happened. And then, okay, maybe it was a 3800. I don't remember, Jimmy. I know it was a V6. So yeah, I forgot to put the cam button back in it, which, pew. Anywho, what else do we got? Oh, the other thing I did, I think I've told you this one before. I left all the flywheel bolts loose on a Ford Taurus I was working on, again, back when I worked for my old man. And yeah, he flipped out on that one. Doing something, trainee, rear seal, flywheel, doing something. Somehow I had the transmission out of it. Had the flywheel off it, so I must have been doing a rear seal. Put the flywheel back up on it, spun all the bolts in it, and then I went to lunch. And then I came back from lunch, and then I put the transmission in, and I got it all done, and I started it up, and you hear it going cling, 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 and you're like, mother, something like that, and you know what you did. You really hope you left the torque converter bolts loose, but you know what you did. So you reach in there and you can chuck the flywheel back and forth. Everything has to come back out. So that's it. Those are the two that really ring true to me of, what I would consider bigger mistakes I've made. Smooth X-Lax. That's an old school saying, Joe. Did your dad throw a chair at you? No, but he did throw me through a door once. But he didn't just pick me up and throw me through the door. I mean, we were like, we were fighting. So I never, ever won, like ever. He was 3 times my size. I never won. But I didn't back down. No, I won't back down. You know that song? Let's bring it, old man. He always told me, if you cock it, you better swing it. Never raise your fist to your dad. At least well, at least every time I did, it never ended well. You always thought it was going to go good. Never did. How's Ed feeling? He's doing pretty good. I saw him today. He had a doctor's appointment today, and he was at home. So saw him for a bit. Got him some new. He wanted some new super bright reverse lights for his 2019 Ford F-150, and he knows I've got like retina melters in the back of my Tundra, so I bought him a set of the same bulbs that I use in my Tundra because they work really, really well. Where are we at? Been there and done that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Okay, here we go. We got to do this. We got to keep moving. I can read comments all night. No, my dad's not a Ford guy. My old man was a Mopar guy. Always drove Mopars, like all the time. And he just got rid of his, what do you have, like a 15 one-ton dually, like King Ranch, Big Larry, Super Dog, whatever they call it, dually, fancy pants one. And he got rid of that and bought an F-150. He sold his like 35-foot aluminum gooseneck flatbed that he had, sold the truck, sold the trailer to a local farm here, and then bought an F-150. So I never know what he's doing. But yeah, he's a Mopar guy. Where are we at here? This one comes from Damien S. This email's kind of interesting. And he writes, I've got an 01 Dodge decoder that needs an exhaust flange repair done. What's the down and ugly and what it takes to get it done in the Rust Belt of North Michigan? Oh, period. Keep on keeping on. Love the Super Trooper lines. How do you, meow? At any rate, Damien, I've actually done a video on this. I had a Dodge Dakota we did a video on quite a while ago, maybe a couple years ago. I think it was running lean, and it was because the flanges were busted. You got a couple options. You can get a laminated flange, a Reparo flange. They're like 3 pieces of laminated metal, and they hinge, and then like this, the other side, you stick it around a pipe, you hinge it down and put a couple bolts through it up through. I don't particularly care for those ones. Walker now makes a regular exhaust flange that's 2 pieces that you bolt together. If I remember right, when you check into that Dodge decoder, they can look them up vehicle specific, and you will find that they don't list them, vehicle specific for that one. What you have to do is measure your Y pipe, see what size pipe it's made out of, and just get the flange that fits that. That's what I always do on the decoders. The good news is on the decoder, and all Dodges, most of them, at least that vintage anyways, is the manifold to pipe bolts. That's always the big deal. Now, Dodge, they screw up a lot of things, tons of things. The one thing they didn't screw up is that, because they use a nut and a bolt. They use a caged nut. You can get them right from your friendly Dodge dealer, and new bolts. And you just take and, whatever you got to do, bust the old ones off, and then take a punch and smack the old ones out of the manifold. Clamp on your new Clampo flange, sticker up there, a couple new, J nuts, a couple new bolts. You're driving down the road, nice and quiet. Yes, working Schlub, he says the 2-piece ones work good. I agree. I like the 2-piece ones. You're a Ford guy. What am I? I'm a Toyota guy. Toyota / Jeep. I didn't mean to say that out loud. I'm a Toyota guy. Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Honda. I'm a Jap guy. I like my Asians. Not Asian women, but, Asian vehicles. Mopar hate. Yeah, you can do all the Mopar hate you want, Mike. The Mopar guys never get pumped up. Ford guys, they don't get pumped up. Chevy guys rip your face off. I don't know what it is. I'm not a closet GM guy. If I had to drive a domestic, I would drive a General Motors. If somebody says, if they hold a gun to my head and says, what are you going to buy, Chevy, Ford, or Dodge? I'd say I'd buy a Chevrolet, man. Put the gun away. Peterbilt or Kentworth? I almost got to say Peterbilt, because that's what all truckers do when they retire. They get their Peterbilt. Again, that's an old trucker joke. I don't get it either, but I always said it. Hey, there's Justin. Justin Underwood. That's the guy. That's who we were talking about earlier. When you guys says what kind of cup that I had, it was from Justin Underwood. I told you it was Justin, but I couldn't remember his last name. Boom, it came to me. Now I remember. I secretly want a Dodge Journey. Yeah, right, Rust Belt. Yeah, give me a Dodge Journey and a PT Cruiser. Tear up the town. No offense if you have a Journey or a PT Cruiser, by the way, but it's just kind of a joke. Oh, hey, there's Jim, the car guy from Jersey. Any word on AVE and the Harbor Freight impact or impants, as he wrote? Yes, oddly enough, yes. I did get word from AVE. He didn't call me. I was just going to tell you that he called me. He emailed me. And now I have his contact information, and I explained to him, about the earthquake here. And he said, yes, he would do it. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But I have been in contact with AVE. We've talked back and forth on an email. And it seems that he's willing to do a rip down on that little guy there and see what kind of schmooze inside of it and stuff like that. So keep your eyes open on his channel. Of course, if he ever does post a video, I'll post a link to it on our socials, stuff like that. Of course, you guys will see it. He's got like 1 million subscribers. So that'll be good. And I don't know his backlog on videos or if he says yes to a lot of things and, just has piles of, old junk sitting around. But let's see. Did he send a picture? Yeah, I've got a picture of his face. I've got his first name, cell phone number, all that stuff. It will all be for sale on eBay. Not really. You think I'm really going to break his code? You got to respect the man's privacy. I didn't ask for his first name. Don't know. Don't care where he lives. Of course, I have his address, but to ship it to, he's not a stupid fella, as you guys know. Clearly, the address he gives is not to the front door of his house. In either case, it's not for sale, nor will I be giving it away or sharing it. Anywho, where are we at here? There we go. Andy writes, this one's from Evan. That's my boy's name. He says, hey, Erico. Oh, and he writes, hey, Erico, quick question possibly to discuss on your What's Up Wednesday. You just serviced a Ford Dudes AC control unit with new Eric O rings. Oh, I see what you did there. Eric O rings. Classy. If he comes back in a fortnight and complains of a similar problem again, how do you warranty that? Do you have to wear the cost of the secondhand unit and installation, or do you ask the customer to pay for the unit and you'll install it? Do you give the customer options? I was just interested as you essentially service the unit. So what do you do if it's not fixed longer term? Love the videos and the content. Keep up the great work. Love always, Evan. P.S. Your son's name is awesome. Well, Evan, I just feel like I should yell at you because your name's Evan. He's like, Evan! So what do I do? At my shop, you have your parts warranty. So whatever the manufacturer is on the parts, let's say it's, lifetime warranty, 1 year, 3 years, stuff like that. And then I also have a 90-day labor warranty for just, general repair, we'll call it 90-day labor warranty. When I sell and install quality Napa parts, I have a 2-year, 24,000-mile parts and labor warranty that I offer my customers because I am an official Napa Auto Care Center, not a sponsor of the show. That's what I'm able to offer my customers as a owner of an auto care center. 24 months, 24,000 miles, on the quality Napa auto parts installed on your vehicle. In a case like this, I offer my customer a 90-day warranty on it. This customer is well aware. I have usually pretty good communication with my customer as far as what I'm doing. Of course, I talked to the guy before I did it, and I gave him the options. We've got a $600 bill on a new one. We've got a $400 bill on a reman one, $200 on a used one, from just quick estimates, or we have the one from the pick and pull for less than $50. So he was all hunky-dory okay with the pick and pull, completely understood about the weather situation, the downpouring rain, the high winds, the 2 below zero. So then at that point called him and said, hey, we've got option number 5, I guess it would be. We can tear it apart and see what we can do. He's like, do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, we're going to go back to plan B. So hopefully that answers your question. If at that point I put the O-rings in it and it failed, like immediately, it didn't work, well, that's on me. I'm certainly not going to charge him and be like, well, you wanted me to put in wanted me to give it the old college try. At that point, I'm back to where I started. We're still going to go to the pick and pull and get one. If we got them and it didn't work, then we, work our way up the ladder, get the reman one, whatever. If he came back and it quit, I don't foresee that happening. But if he did, and it was within, my 90 days, of course, I'm not a real tight stickler on that. At that point, I would probably just go get him a used unit like we planned on originally and just eat it. It's a case by case basis, I guess. But I do stick to my guns with 90 day, and then of course the 24/24 that I offer is a Napa Auto Care Center installing quality Napa auto parts. Not a sponsor. Hopefully that answers your question. You just do what's right is what you do. You don't be a dirtbag. You just do what's right. Sometimes you got to listen to your belly. You just do what's right. That's all I can tell you. Let's get into some mail call. Am I in slow mode? You should. I think it's on a 15-second slow mode, Paul, where people can only comment every 15 seconds. I'm pretty sure I changed it 15. By default, it's set at 60. So hopefully I change it to 15. Here we go. First one's a card. Stuck. Whoa, hang on, fellas. Oh, hey, Sheba. Were you sleeping? He's passed out over there. Whoa, hang on. There we go. Oh, Sheba's tired. Where are we at here? Oh, we were reading this card. I get sidetracked so easy. Completely distracted all the time. This one says, thank you. Andy writes, Dear South Main Auto Repair, we are a great fan of your videos on the YouTube. We hope our products will help you and your videos. If you need more, just let us know anytime, Mr. Kim. Thank you, Mr. Kim. And Mr. Kim, he sends me a shine spout. Evidently, these can be hooked on quartz. Let's just not guess. Let's get it out. He didn't only send one. He sent a whole box. I'm not sure what all I'm going to do with a ginormous box of shine spouts. However, I think we could probably put to use one or two of them. Oh, Eric at Crown. What? Did Crown say something I missed, Cuba? I got to get this cord back out of my way. Fill me in on it, Cuba, if I missed something here. Just shoot me a text. Well, unhook this little guy. Moonshine spouts, yeah. Do these go on a beer bottle? No. Let's see. I don't know if they fit a water bottle. And they do. Kind of. Nope, the threads don't fit quite right. They have a little rubber donger on them that allows the air to come in. It's got like that little, duckbill type vent, allows air in, but fluid's not out. Yes, did you get your crown? Did I get my crown? Are you asking, Cuba, or is Crown asking if I got it? Oh, okay. Did you get your new oil? I did not yet, Gary, if that's Gary watching. I have not received it yet, other than what you dropped off the other day when you were here. I was kind of holding out because I got to do my Jeep. Trying to do you a solid. I'm waiting patiently. Let's see, what do we got here? We got some brake fluid. This is brought to you from Napa. Quality parts. Not a sponsor. Let's see if it goes on here. Nope, doesn't fit that jug. Of course, why would you want it on there? I can imagine that you would, so you don't spill it. So it won't fit the Napa brake stuff. What do we got here? We got some Mopar 75 W85. Don't get it on you. Son of a, that's what Crown says. It's a love-hate I have with gear oil. Let's stick it on the gear oil. Oh, yeah. She fits good. And then you just when you're done with it, slink it back up. Need a little boop, 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 boop. See if it leaks. I don't want to squeeze it because I don't know how hard I put that cap on. Seems to work. And when I squeeze it, it doesn't leak out the little vent thing. I don't know. We'll put it to the test. That's what the crazy Russian hacker always says. Where he welcomes you back to his channel where safety is the #1 priority. Anybody watch a crazy Russian hacker? Get sucked into his videos. It's like mindless hours on YouTube or watching nothing. I was watching tree felling compilations. What do they call them? Tree felling fails, you know, where they cut down trees and it really goes awful. I love watching those and any kind of stuff like that where people get hurt. I don't know why. Let's see where we at. Yeah, gear oil. So thank you, Mr. Kim, for those. What do we got here? Here's another package. He loves the Russian hacker. Everybody likes watching the crazy Russian hacker. He's always eating MREs and stuff like that. Oh, there we go. Got a package here from Joe. Not Joe Mama, just Joe. Joe Brony. I got a lot of acronyms. Let's see here. We'll skip that. Where are we at here? Letters. We get letters. And he writes, Dear Eric, I really appreciate your videos. Love your approach and attitude. My parents didn't like my attitude growing up. You just ask my mama. And sometimes Mrs. O doesn't like my attitude. Sometimes I don't like my own attitude. Your videos bring me back to the days when I worked alongside my dad growing up. It really feels like I'm right by your side. This is you, Joe, right here. Picture that. I live in Seattle area now, but I grew up near Reno, Nevada. So here's a plate from the West for your collection. Take care. Keep it up. Love always, Joe. Thanks, Joe. See you later. And he sends us some Nevada plates. Boom, America right there. Thanks, Joe. Do appreciate that. Speaking of bald eagle, coming up in one of my next videos, I got some ultra rare footage of 2 bald eagles. Not ultra rare footage, but I see bald eagles around here. I don't usually see them as a couple, and it burned my biscuit. So I'm driving along. Hey, look, there's a couple bald eagles in the tree. I stop the car. I get out the camera on the side of the road. And I zoom in, enhance. I get way in up on these, and they're up there. And the one, he does like a wing stretch. He looks like he hugs the other eagle. I assume it's a boy and a girl. I'm just guessing. And it looks like he stretched out. I'm like, oh, look at that. They just hugged. And then I unenhance. Shut the camera off. We finished the test drive we were on. 2 seconds later, the thing takes a huge dump. Just like he leans over, his foot's like hanging off the tree, and like it looks like a fish shot out of his butt. And I totally freaking missed it, dude. I was so mad. I wasn't like mad, like I'm screaming mad. I was just mad that I didn't get it. I could have had it on camera. It was the greatest thing. I never seen an eagle poop, but it would have been the best part of the whole video. And it was a lot of poop. It wasn't just like a little bird. If that thing hit your window, you'd wreck your car. Like if an eagle's like, caw-caw, caw-caw. I don't know if that's the sound they make flying over your car and took one of its turds, it would break your windshield. Because this thing, it was like a stream. I can't even explain it. I was so excited. Who else gets excited to see an eagle poop? A bald eagle. I'm like, that's America right there. It was fantastic. Maybe you can Google it to see what. Maybe it's the rarest thing people have ever seen. I don't know. Anywho, it was great. Set them down there. We add them to our collection. Yeah, freedom poop. It was so great. I was super happy to see it. Experience right there. Yep. Oh yeah, so there you go. Ryan said the last time he was at my shop, he stopped at the gas station on the corner, and there was a couple of bald eagles nesting across this. Across that's where I was. I didn't see a nest there. I do know there's a nest quite close, but this was so he's at the gas station. Right by the gas station, there's the dike. Over the dike and across the field, there's a river, and there's a huge oak tree over there, and that's where these eagles were. So they're probably like boyfriend, girlfriend, like gonna make some eaglets. Explosive eagle diarrhea. Yeah, it was. It was awesome. I'll tell you what. Let's see, what's this one here? This is from Mr. Jack. Oh, and I can't show you. I'll show you. I'll bend it over here. This is how you know, like, the whole eagle thing was meant to be. Because even his sticker, America, got the eagle on that. I mean, like, and if I wasn't, something didn't remind me, I wouldn't have told you guys about that. Where are we at here? Yeah, Eagle had some Taco Bell. Yeah. Let's see. And he writes, this is from Jack. My name is Jack W. Can't pronounce his last name, let alone I'd never say him anyways. Live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I watch your show all the time. I have one question, and one question only. What is the purple stuff you use on your brake jobs? Is it disc brake anti-squeak from Napa? Not a sponsor. Thanks for any info. Keep up the good work. Love always, Jack. What do I use? Well, I'd show you the container, but we chop them off because we got to get to the last drop. It is Permatex Extreme Brake Lube. It's just synthetic brake caliper grease, and it's Permatex Extreme. I guess that answers the question. I think Josh needs some more. Kid goes through that stuff like water. Oops, wait a minute here. Mickey D's parking lot fries. No, I never seen the bald eagles at Mickey D's. Now there is a lot of what's down there? Them seagulls. They're down there all the time. Savage. Those things are savage. But I have been down at my parents' pond. You know, eagle come by, that thing will whip a carp up out of the water. I mean, it's, you know, a decent sized carp, like a 13-inch carp, and just like fly away with that thing. Comes over, swoops around, lands on land, and just shreds it, rips it to pieces. I always tell my mom, she got a little chihuahua, barking, yapping freaking dogs. And I tell her, I was like, Mom, so you let that dog run around outside, that eagle will eat your little dog like ain't nobody's business. She said, oh, it wouldn't hurt Maddie, honey. Ma, yes, it would. Because Maddie looks like a snack for that thing. That dog weighs like 2 pounds, Mom. That eagle will eat your dog. And it won't even hesitate. That's still, to this day, one of my favorite videos on YouTube. Perhaps you guys seen it. It's an awful stuff. I can't tell you. Because it's funny. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny and kind of sad. I can't tell you. Unless you want me to tell you. But I don't want to offend people. It's a funny video. Do you want me to tell you? I can't tell you. All right, I'll tell you. So I'd have to find it, but it's awful. It's awful. But I also know it's a cycle of life, so I can tell you. So this family illegally harbored a wild rabbit. So it's their fault. You can't take wild rabbits. At least in New York State, you can't harbor wild animals legally. So this family had this little bunny, and my kids do it too. They find a wounded rabbit. They bring it home. The thing dies 3 days later. But either case, this family had like this little bunny, and they're out there with their kids, and this bunny, I don't know if they bottle fed it or whatever. It got bigger. They take it outside, and it's kind of like in an urban area, and they set it down, and the family's watching, and the kids and everything. And, here's this little bunny going to hop out into the wild, and this freaking red-tailed hawk comes down and just annihilates this bunny right in front of the whole family. It was terrible. I'm sorry. I should not be laughing this much at it, but it's like, you're watching the video, you're like, oh, that's cute. They let the little bunny go, and then wham, this red-tailed hawk comes down and just flies away with this rabbit. But it's a cycle of life. That's how things are. And, of course, the kids were freaking out to see if I can find that video. Schmitty said he saw it, but it was like, I don't know. It's just how things work. That's why you should have, because you find a wild rabbit, just leave it alone. Or any wild animal. But the other kids were horrified. Yeah, somebody one of the Blue Wrenches will have to see if they can find a link for it. I should not be laughing this much. Okay, stop laughing. Act like a grown-up. Okay. I haven't seen it in forever. In either case, we're moving on. We got another thank you letter here. This one comes, and it just says, "Thanks again, Eric, the Brooks USA team." Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Brooks is the one who made my brass hammers that I have. Let me get their web address up there. Hope you can see it. BrooksUSA.com. They make some fantastic brass hammers. And I've had them in a few videos, and I have no working relationship with Brooks, no set agreements or anything like that. It's called Bunnies Can Fly. Okay, somebody Google that and put up a link. So I have no agreement with Brooks. The guy who owns it, his son actually is one who sent me the hammers, and I've shown them in videos because they're actually a work of art. I hate using them because they're so nice, but he insists that I use them because they're meant to be used. And I'm not a tool polisher, so I do use them and I do love them, and I use my big honking 8-pounder all the time. It's getting pretty tattered up from use. It's starting to look good, Long story short, whenever somebody buys from him, I don't know if they buy a set, don't know, never even spoke to the man on the phone, and apparently they tell him, like, they saw it on my YouTube video, the fella sends me a check. And it's really nice. And, I appreciate it. It's unnecessary. He doesn't have to. But check them out. They got nice stuff. So there's that. Anyways, let's keep on keeping on. So thank you, Brooks, for that. Brooks USA, if you are watching. Let's see where we at here. Anywho. This is... wrote in this I gotta see what I got here. Oh yeah, it's all written in big, easy to read font for old fellas. This is from Gregory from Jersey. Reference: thank you for your instructions. Subject: you're an outstanding technician. And he writes, I was shopping at the Harbor Freight and thought about you, so I'm sending you a few things that you may be able to use. You're an outstanding automotive technician, and your electrical troubleshooting skills are state-of-the-art. That's pretty high praise. I appreciate that, though. I'm a retired industrial arts teacher who taught basic automotive technology, service and repair, architectural drawing, CAD, and woodworking technology. Over the years, I've done my best to keep up to date with the changing automotive technology, and your videos have helped me to stay current. While I have the basic hand tools and do maintenance, I lack the place to work. Working outside is not an alternative at my location, but when I take my vehicles into dealers, I can speak the language with the service director, advisor, and the service technicians. There have been times when I've diagnosed the problem prior to presenting the vehicle for service. I wish I lived closer to you because I would love to meet you firsthand and talk about automotive service business. Question: where did you learn your electrical troubleshooting skills? They are outstanding. All the best to you and your family. And then in big, big letters, wear your safety glasses when you're spraying brake cleaner. You only have 2 eyes. Take care of them. Exclamation point, exclamation point. You can tell he's an industrial arts teacher because my shop teacher told me the same thing. When reinstalling suspension bolts through the bushings, you have considered using some lubrication on the bolts and threads so they're easier to get off at a later date. Oh, I guess I'll answer that question because that's a question. There was another question. And I'll answer that question, Greg, with depends. And not the adult diaper depends, just depends. If the car's a complete toilet and I'm putting let's say we're putting a control arm on it, and we can look at that car and say, you know what, this thing is going to be in the crusher in 2 years. In that case, I typically don't waste, never sees on the bolts like that. I might give it a little toot of like fluid film, something like that, just, ram it in, done. If it's a car that, you know, appears to have, you know, life left in it, and potentially that bolt would have to come back out at a later date for any other type of service, then yes. To answer your question, yes, I do. You had a previous question here. Where do I get my electrical troubleshooting skills? On the job experience is what I would say with that. And, you know, YouTube, self-learning. You can learn anything you want to learn nowadays with YouTube and with the internet in general. And the resources that we have are almost endless. So that hopefully answers your question there. All sorts of books, lots of videos, learning, reading, experimenting would be, you know, my answer to that. You do an outstanding brake job. When I have the dealers do my brakes in my vehicles, I suggest the steps that you specify in your brake replacement videos. The dealership service personnel are surprised at my knowledge, and yes, they do take my suggestions. Be safe. All the best. Love always, Greg. I'm surprised they listen. It sounds like that you have a great dealer if they're willing to, you know, talk to you and, you know, listen to you and actually carry out what you say. But of course, you are a shop teacher, and they probably know that. Shop teachers in general have a way of getting people to do what they want, because that was their job for 50 years. Or for a long time anyways. Oh, and then he got some stuff from the Harbor Freight. A quantum headlamp, ultra focus mode and standard mode. I use these occasionally when I'm working. A lot of times on interior stuff. I do find them super handy when I'm under the dash. So I will be putting that to good use. He also threw in a couple of sponges for washing the Tundra or whatever else I wash around. A pair of multi-purpose skizzers. They're stainless steel blades, serrated edges for better cutting. Comfortable PVC grips and functional designs include include jar and bottle opener. And they work. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Greg, very much for that. Oh, yes. And then there is a 5 foot by 7 foot HF tarp up in this joint. I go through a lot of tarps, especially at home, cover stuff up. The weather beats the snot out of them. They go from tarps to shreds. So I definitely will be putting that stuff to good use. So I appreciate that, Greg. Thank you for shipping that and for your kind letter. And yes, I'll try to wear my glasses more. Maybe. I should. I know better. Every time I get something in my eyes, Mrs. O tells me all the time, she's like, oh, why are you wearing your glasses? You get something in your eye? She usually says something like that. And then I'll wear my glasses for like 2 or 3 days after that. I'm like, man, I hate wearing glasses. And, but that's usually how it goes. You get something in your eye, you know, you get the Q-tip out, you're over in the mirror trying to do the whole Q-tip thing, getting the rust out of your eye. And, then you're like, wow, I don't want to do that again. That hurt. And then you wear glasses, and then a couple days later, you're, man, these glasses suck. And then you're kind of back to where you started. Where were we going with that? And hearing protection. David said he has these scissors, and he just gave the full review on them and said they're excellent. Trim up my beard with it. Get them long ones that stick out. The gray ones, the gray hairs grow much longer. Schmidt said he had one doctor literally Dremel a piece of exhaust out of his eye once. Then I took a stone to the eye via the weed whacker. Dude, stones to the eye from the weed whacker is some serious business. They feel like a bruise. But yes, I know what you're talking about, Schmidt. I had the doctor do the Dremel tool on my eye once, but it was before my eye was numb, and I jumped, and the doctor yelled at me. And I'm like, dude, it hurt. Like, you shouldn't have felt that. And then he's like, he squeezes the stuff in my eye more, and then it's like, no, I can't feel the left side of my face, but we're good. Yeah, so I had he called it a rust ring. That explosion. Sorry, Clive, I'll refrain from scissoring my beard. I had a ring. It was in my eye, he called it a rust ring, and the only way you could get it out was with his little Dremel tool, which is like a little tiny needle on it that vibrates at a really high frequency, and they massage your eye with it, and they give you a couple drops, makes your eye numb. they dilate it and stuff, so it's really difficult to drive when you leave. Of course, you're supposed to bring somebody with you, but if you just drive like a pirate, you can usually make it back home. I always did. And yeah, he came in there with that little, of course you can't close your eyes so you can't see it. He came in there, boy, the second he touched my eye, it wasn't just a reaction because you see a sharp object coming at your eye. It like freaking hurt, and I jumped, and he yelled, and I yelled, and when it was all done, the piece was out. We hugged, we shook hands, I paid him, and we're good. Anyhow, we got one last bit of goodness over here. Oh, is that true, Schmitty? The numbing drop only works good the first time. Each application lasts shorter and shorter. Maybe that's why they tell me they don't want to use it. Like, I understand now. They always told me, like, no, we can't keep using this stuff. Okay, maybe I should wear glasses. This one comes from Lackey the Hacky on the YouTube, aka Charlie. He has a little thing up on here, which I think is a great saying, which I should probably make a sign and hang it up. It says, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy cows, and cows make milk, and milk makes ice cream, and everyone knows that ice cream makes you happy. Amen, brother. Amen. Can I get an amen on that? Mm-hmm. And he writes, Dear Eric and Miss O, from a guy who sent you the Scotch 88 tape for the truck plow wiring harness gone bad. I'm sending you this because you're such a nice guy and gal. You took care of your sister's relay box and saved her 600 cojones. You repurposed your winnings for a single mom. So in an effort to help you in the next, to help you when, gosh, I can't even read. Try this again. So in an effort to help you when next you need to disassemble a piece of electronics, I'm giving you my retired soldering workstation. If I could have found a soldering iron for it, I would have sent that too. I can't tell you how many plates through holes soldered have been sucked with this device, but it still gets the job done. After a minute or two of heating up, that relay would fall out in 30 seconds. Done use that iron and solder. Oh, don't use, I think it says done, but I think it means don't. We'll fill in the blanks here, Charlie, don't worry. Don't use that soldering iron and wick to remove parts. It cannot get the heat into the hole. Life goal, baby. He didn't write that. I just made that up. Doesn't get the beans into the hole, he says. Like the blue solid soda pullet you showed. Soda pullet. Oh, it must be the solder sucker he's talking about you showed. It needs to be cleaned out after a few tens of sucks. Actually, Charlie, on mine, just to let you know, every time I pushed the solder sucker down, it had a metal shaft that came down that scraped out the hole. For what it's worth, but I'm also not a solder sucker expert. There will be lead or fake solder ball in the glass tube. Just pull the end off the pencil and dump the lead. A piece of cotton nail polish removable ball will suffice on the other end. I silicone lube the glass before assembly. I've recently purchased scarce replacement tips just for you. An Ungar 4070 and a 4075 work. The lower numbers, the smaller the tip. You should clean the tip every time you use it. Suck in a little rosin flux if you can to cut corrosion. When I feel the cleaning tool and the other gun, when I find the cleaning tool and the other gun, I will ship it with a bunch of ripe South Carolina peaches. Way better than store-bought. Love always, Charlie, retired computer engineer, 71. Thank you, Charlie. And I'll show you, and it's kind of funny. Now, Charlie, if you don't find the heating element of it, after my last fiasco there, I did go out and get it. I've got this soldering iron here. Totally forgot I even had this thing. But she's a Weller, and she's got a little bigger tip. This is the chisel tip on there. That's the one you guys are screaming for me to use. Why on earth I was using my other one. Totally forgot I had this one, so I moved it over to its location where I won't forget it. And I also found my flux. Day late and $1 short. Ugh. Let's see here. So we're gonna make sure I don't want to show his address on here. I don't want everybody stalking this guy. Let's see. 40% off at Chico's. Is he trying to send me mixed messages? let's see, and he found, here's the tips he's talking about. He found some of the tips that go with it. Lower the number, smaller the tip. These are all the same size. So here's the solder sucker tips, okay? There's a couple more here in my hand. I'll stick them in the box, don't want to lose them. And here's this shebang, the old 4024 Ungar. There she is, look at this thing. Solder, desolder, it's got a switch on it. Got the on-off, power, always running on power 4, no matter what you're working on. Okay, so there's that. And then come over here, this plugs in. I'm going to plug this into the old machine. I'm thinking I will. Oh, it's got to have a locator on it. Let's see, and it does. There she goes. She's a quarter turn. Pushing in, quarter turn, she's in. Come over here. Oh, look at this thing. It's a little heat up solder sucker. The whole time I was doing that sucker, I was like, I wish I had something that would heat it up and suck it at the same time. That did not just come out right. But you know what I'm saying. Sounds like it's got something loose in there. We'll have to fire it up. Definitely got to fire it up and play with it a little bit and see how it works. Yeah, that's connection. You can blow through, you can hear it hissing through the filter. So we'll be checking this baby out. Pretty excited about it. Have to plug it in. I don't know if you just push the button and it's like, you know, just sucks up solder. I'm not sure. But I'll be plugging her in and we'll try out. I don't have a plugger close by because all my ones over here are full. So this thing's pretty legit. Joseph Baker says it's legit. I kind of want to go tear something apart and suck up some solder. I'm not going to lie. What's that? Oh, Sheba. Oh, somebody's coming to get me. So, really sweet gift. The Ungar Service Center. So at least if I'm taking apart tip-ums and whatnot, at least we can do it legit. You know, the women don't find us handy. Handsome? How's that go? So when women don't find us handsome, at least they find us handy, right? Isn't that the red and green saying on the red and green show? I'll stick this baby over here. I want to put that in my safe place. Sheba got, oh, did she get a mouse? Oh, no. Come here. She is a mouse killing machine. Come on, get up there. Get up there. Let's go. Whoa, I got you. Hang on there, old girl. Hang on. Come here. Sit down. Good girl. There you are. Is Sheba mixed with anything? Oh, let's ask her. Sheba, are you legit? Are you a mixed breed? Are you a mutt dog? Nope. Sheba is a Siberian Husky with ice blue eyes. Hi, Sheba. Here's a good girl. You want to give me a kiss? You pop up? Oh, ouch, you zapped me. Ouch. No, she's not mixed with anything. She's a 50-pounder female Siberian Husky at the ripe old age of almost 5. Hi, Sheba. There's a good girl. She's ready to go home. But yeah, she is a mouse killing machine. We go for a walk, she will get a mouse or 2 mice or sometimes 3 mice, ground moles every single time we go. And yeah, they're fantastic. You know, you let her outside and she just constantly on it, especially under the snow. She hears them under the snow. I swear she hears them because she'll be up running through the field or something and she'll be just coming along a hedgerow and she'll just stop and she kind of hunkers down and she'll look and she'll sneak ahead real slow and then she does like a pounce and then poof, like through the snow, comes back up with a mole just like that almost every time. It's pretty fun to watch her do it. So, yep. I guess that's it. So that is all of that. So thank you guys for your letters, for the emails that we get at the SMAWUW@outlook.com. I probably could have printed off more. How long have we been at this? What time is it? We started at what, 6:30, 7:30. So it's been an hour and a half-ish. So next time I'll be sure to print out more so we can read more of those questions. There was quite a few in there. Oh, the video Gavin and Evan did. They've got some other ones. So over on our other channel, my boy, my oldest boy Gavin, I found he gave me he's got a video camera that a viewer gave to me that I gave to him to use, and it has internal storage and it holds like 75 gigabytes. Well, him and his brother have been using this thing for quite a while, and it was full. It had like 75 gigs of videos on it. So he brought it to me. He's like, "Hey, can you take these videos off there?" I was like, "Sure." It's plugged into my computer. Downloaded all his videos on there, and there's some pretty funny stuff. If you give a 7 and 11 or a 9 and 11-year-old a camera, of course they're outside a lot. They get some really funny stuff, and he's trying to he does a lot of talking to the camera, and there's this really, really funny speech he did down in his bedroom at some point. Me and Vanessa were watching it, and we couldn't even breathe. It was hilarious. He does a whole speech on parenting and how you should raise your children, and of course this comes from a kid who's so not I don't know how I want to say it, but he's not like a perfect angel kid. He'll be disobedient and stuff, as all kids will, and defiant, things like that. So to hear his speech, it was hilarious. And he's talking about teenagers and their cell phones and their boyfriends and their girlfriends and stuff like that. It's a great video. I do want to put it up on YouTube. He does say some stuff in it that's kind of controversial, which I'll probably edit out, but it is really, really funny. And they got some other videos, him and Evan fishing, quite a few fishing videos, and so which he likes to watch on YouTube. So I'll probably put that up there also. But yeah, it's pretty funny. They like to go out in the woods and stuff like that, because well, that's what we do. So I'll see if I can get some of them around. Yeah, sounds like me as a kid. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm going to have to edit a little bit, because sometimes kids say some stuff that they don't completely understand because it's like what they've heard in school, and I don't want people to take it the wrong way. So I do have to edit a little bit of it. Not much of it, but a little bit of it. I can't leave it up unedited. It's not, it's not swearing or profanity or anything like that, but it's stuff that can easily be mistaken the wrong way. So I'm not going to, get down on somebody's lifestyle or something, because a child is speaking, about stuff that he has no idea about. So. Yeah, no, Clive, it's not me, man. So. Yeah, no edits for the patron. I really can't. It's just a matter of morals, and I've got to edit some of it out, even though it's hilarious. So, yep, Big Clive Live is up in here. Big Clive. Why do I always call it Big Clive Live? Just because it rhymes. Big Clive Live. It's got a good jive. Yeah, kids say the darndest things. It is super funny, but it is stuff that can be easily taken the wrong way, and as easily as people get butt hurt. I wouldn't dare, put it on YouTube, unedited, uncut, because you get some little crybaby, and next thing you know, it all gets taken way out of hand, and they want to burn your house down. So. Oh, it is Spank. Yeah, have a good night, Spanky. If you're out of here. Yeah, kind of snowflakes, but whatever. I try to be pretty neutral. The best that we can. Of course, there's a lot of things I'll stand solid for, but. Oh, all right. See you later, Hayward. Have fun working on that HHR Chevrolet. I just did an exhaust on one of those, Hayward. It was actually came in for loud exhaust, and it was broke at the flex pipe right at the manifold. And the converter for that thing was $1,300, GM only, because this was a California car. Ended up, I was like, no way. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's an HHR. It's now worth $1,300. no offense if you drive one, but this thing was pretty rough shape. It just needed a flex plate, but it's, you know, it's up on the flange and all that stuff. I got one off Amazon for like $50, and it was pretty well made. So I was able to just, you know, cut the 2 bolts at the back of the resonator, take the 3 bolts out of the flange, take it down, whack it off, weld on the new flex and new front flange. Boom. It worked beautifully and saved the lady, you know, well over $1,000, because the only other way to get that flex is it's part of the front of the converter. So I'm like, no way, that's ridiculous. So fixed. You can't buy a converter in a junkyard in New York State. You can't buy a converter, and you can't buy airbags. They're illegal. Illegal. Against the law. Plus, what do I want to say? Oh, we have to follow, you know, by CARB certified or CARB certifications if it's a California emissions car, which this was. So there was not even an aftermarket option because there was no aftermarket CARB certified, you know, direct fit converters for that car. So it was GM only. Yep, New York, we can't do anything. We can't have guns with more than 10 rounds in them. We can't buy airbags. We can't buy converters. None of that business. Yep, and then they got this whole stupid thing on, you know, that CARB converters. It sucks because, you know, you'll get somebody comes in, it's got a car, you know, say it's a decent car, you know, say it's a little, you know, Chevy Cobalt or something. It's, you know, it ain't worth a ton of money. It's still good mechanically. It's got good tires. You know, it's not all rotted in half. You know, might have a lot of miles on it. You know, comes in with a 420. You know, there it is. If that's a California emissions car, you're in New York State, forget about it. You know, because now you got to buy a CARB certified converter. In some cases, if that's OEM only, your converter is going to cost more than that car did. And it sucks. But you can't get in trouble for, you know, as a shop owner, let's say we put on a federal emissions converter on it, we got popped, it's a $25,000 fine. And when you get audited, you better have your paperwork straight for your converter sales. You get audited and, you know, bin's not, you know, things aren't jived, 25 grand. It's not worth it. Yeah, see, you got right there. Hayward's doing the same repair I did. He lives in Georgia. He got a federal cap for $150. That's legit. So, and the thing is, he's going to drive that car and the light's not going to be on and it's going to work just fine. And ain't nobody in California going to know about it. That just pisses me off. That's just stupid. So, anywho. 2019, the year of the Toolbox Tour. I don't know. Toolbox Tours are so dumb. Yeah, you can't buy a cat, you can't buy a U-joint, but your ball joints can be falling straight out of the car and it will pass inspection. I don't write the laws, people. I just follow them. Rent some out-of-state plates. That would be the way to do it. And the best part is, if you have a shop and you're not in the state of New York, let's say you're down there in Florida, and of course we all know everybody from Florida comes all the way down to, or everybody in New York goes all the way down to Florida. It is illegal to install a non-CARB certified converter on a vehicle registered in the state of New York, because that's what was happening. People were, of course, we're only 45 minutes from Pennsylvania, so people were hopping in their little hot rod and they were driving to PA, going to the muffler shop, and Jimbo down there, he'd whack it off, he'd weld on a new muffler and, you know, converter, and they'd come back to New York. Well, they kibosh that pretty quick because it's actually illegal to install on any vehicle registered into the state of New York. Go figure. So be ye warned. If you see New York plates, just run, because if it's a New York plate car and it's in Florida, you don't want to work on it anyways, trust me. How warm is it in Florida right now? I could probably ask my Google Assistant, her beautiful Australian voice she has. How warm is it in Miami, Florida?
The current temperature in Miami is 65.
How warm is it going to be in Miami tomorrow?
In Miami tomorrow, expect a high of 76 and a low of 61.
All right, answered that. How warm is it in Avoca, New York?
In Avoca, it's currently 21.
Whoa. How much snow are we going to get?
It's not expected to snow tonight in Avoca. It'll be partly cloudy.
All right. Well, we answered all them questions. She's got a nice voice, doesn't she? Right then. Yeah, she is English, not Australian. I didn't like the Australian girl in there. I switched it to the English lady. She's my Google assistant. She takes care of me. Yeah, she's definitely a Brit. Oh, ask her to marry me? I don't know. I told her that I loved her the other day. Will you marry me?
I'm not sure marriage is the right step for our relationship, but I'd love to be your assistant forever.
Well, that was nice. I mean, at least you're honest. Maybe she's already seen somebody. Do you have a boyfriend?
I'm working on myself right now. I improve a little with every update.
All right. Well, at least we got that figured out. Yeah. She steals all my data. Yeah, probably. I can change her to Aussie. I had her Aussie for a little while, but I do like the English chick a little bit. She's a little more sassy, you know. Ask her what she thinks of EcoBoost truck. She'll just look it up on the Google. I've asked her lots of stuff, trust me. She'll tell you a joke if you guys want to hear a joke. Make me laugh.
What do you call a Labrador that becomes a magician? A labracadabrador.
That's fantastic. What do you call a Labrador becomes a magician? A labracadabrador. Let's see. One more.
Well, my speciality is interesting facts, but let me try to come up with something funny. According to Wikipedia, astronaut Alan Shepard lost his ball after he played a round of golf on the moon, making him the worst golfer in the history of the moon.
Not a great one. Try again. Anyways. She can beatbox. Really? Have I not? Come on. All right. This is it. One more thing. Can you beatbox?
Okay. Put your hands together for MC Sound File.
She can beatbox. I had no idea. What? Anyways. I got to get rolling. It's time to wrap it up. Sheba's an absolute mess from sitting on the floor out here. So I've got to get rolling. Where are we at here? There's a clock right here on this modern day computer down in the corner. So I'm going to get going home. Thanks for sticking around, guys. It was a much more peaceful and relaxing, whatever we call this thing that we do, What's Up Wednesday, with the super chat turned off. I did mean to do that on my last one. However, like I said, I was doing that from my cell phone. And on the cell phone, when you do a live stream, there's just a go live button. And the YouTube app, I had a hard time. I poked around for a while. This time I was diligent, like, we got to get this done. Cooper reminded me last time, don't forget. So we got that turned off. So that'll be off for the remainder of the What's Up Wednesdays, which was our intention back in the beginning, if you guys remember, if you were there for the first one. So that is all settled now. It is turned off. I don't have to disable it each time I do one. It should not come back on. So we're good like that. So good night, everyone. Thanks everyone for participating, for sending the emails, the letters, the schwags, the plates, the stuff, and just the overall general love that is emitted through the screen and the comments. Going to try to get some videos coming up for you. And also thanks for the folks here on the Patreon who support us there too. That is fantastic, every one of you. Of course, our channel wouldn't be anything without any of you. So thank all of you alike. Videos in the pipeline. I've got one loaded up now, just a short one. I'm trying to fulfill the question about the scan tools. I said I wouldn't do a full scan tool review because obviously I can't fulfill everything that's needed to make that review good. However, I am trying to be diligent to highlight some good points on the different types of tools. And I think OTC does a fantastic job with their Mode 6 data. If they got one thing nailed down right, they've got that nailed right. And I use an example on a Ford I was working on to show you that, so you don't have to decipher all the Mode 6 mumbo jumbo. They do a good job, perhaps one of the best jobs I've seen. Better than Snap-on for sure, better than Autel, better than Launch when it comes to interpreting Mode 6 data, which is super handy. So I got a little, I think it's 6 or 7 minute video on that coming up. That one's already edited and uploaded. Maybe that'll come out tomorrow. I've got a video, a little bit of, working on the Jeep, which is all kind of boring stuff. And then I recorded the working on that Toyota and showed some important facts on there. If you own a shop and you're dealing with an elderly customer who doesn't quite understand all the, electronic mumbo jumbo and how to deal with them. When the vehicle comes in, the money light's on, but the drive cycle is not finished. I show in that video how critically important that is and how it can burn your hoo-ha. I won't spoil the whole video, but there is some good stuff in there to learn. And perhaps if you're taking your car to a shop, maybe, if let's say you're not a mechanic, maybe it'll help enlighten you as to like, okay, so this, one thing got fixed, but now there's another problem. In this video, live, raw, and uncut, you'll see how that happens. The thing comes in, the speedometer's not working, the money light's on. We got some rear wheel speed sensor problems. Things are addressed. We looked though, prior to clearing the code, super important. We looked, we saw, hey, guess what? This thing still has 2 monitors aren't run, catalyst and evap. We're working on an old junker Toyota. Good chance we got an evap leak or a bad cat. And sure as the day is long and the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, we put it in check mode. We take it for a drive. Yes, the speedo's fixed, all that. I just gave away the whole video. Bada bing, bada boom. PO420 throws up on the screen. Bob's your uncle. If you had given that car back to a customer, you didn't run the full drive cycle, it would haunt you, and you would have a customer standing there saying, I brought this in for my check engine light, and now my check engine light's back on, because they don't understand, and it's not their fault. So anyhow, be mindful of that. I explain more in the video. Hopefully you guys like it. You might not, but that is the video that we see the eagle. But just know, when you see that eagle, 10 seconds after I turned that camera off, that eagle pooped. So I hope to see that in the comment box. In the meantime, I'm out of here like a pregnant chick's belly button. Got to go out and start the Tundra, get that baby fired up, warm it up, go home, get the plow put on, waiting for the big snow so I can push up the bankings. Hopefully I'll get a little snow plowing video for you too, for whatever reason. And that's it. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching.